From the Assembly Hall in the campus of the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, the Illinois High School Association presents the 21st Annual Class A Boys Basketball Championships. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the floor of the Assembly Hall. I'm Joe Passion as we begin the semifinal rounds here of this Boys Class A Championship Basketball Tournament. And for those of you who may have missed our Friday's games, let's first review for you the quarterfinal results that occurred yesterday. And Normal University started out the day with a 55-34 victory over Little Sherrard, advancing to today's game here against Augusta Southeastern, a 59-44 winner over Fairfield. Southeastern, the #1 ranked team in the state of Illinois in Class A. And then in the evening session, it was Benting pulling away from St. Martin de Porres of Chicago by 14, and Findlay knocking off Elgin St. Edward also by 14, 74-60. They'll be playing later on in semifinal game number 2. Now, of course, you always like to know a little bit about the teams before they tip it off, so here's a little bit of indication of who the Suns are. Well, they're ranked #1 in Class A. They are the only unbeaten team here, coached by Mike Frey. They are an independent team, will be wearing their light-colored uniforms. They're located in Hancock County in western Illinois. The community of Augusta prospered early because of agricultural needs and the presence of the railroad, which no longer stops in town. Southeastern was consolidated in 1970 when Old Augusta and Bowen High School merged, and the nickname Suns was selected from a contest. Augusta was once home of the oldest school in Illinois, Augusta Grade School, which ceased operation in 1978. It's now owned by the local Lions Club and is the site of the Mary Farlow Museum. Augusta, a lot of tradition behind that town, and they're bringing them all out here to watch their sons in this game. And they will face a team in Normal University High. To give you a little indication of who Normal is, well, they are the Pioneers out of the Corn Belt Conference. They've only lost 3 games this year for Coach Cal Hubbard. And if you've never been to Normal, Illinois, it's a gorgeous town. Normal is also part of Bloomington, Illinois, and the home of the University High School Pioneers. This community of 100,000 has seen quite a bit of growth in recent years. It is the home of Diamond Star Motors on the west side of Interstate 55, and the home of Country Companies Insurance, a longtime state tournament sponsor. Illinois State University, of course, is there, and Redburn Arena, which hosts the girls basketball tournament. U-High was, of course, the high school that is here today representing their town, and they are also out in force. So stay with us. Coming up, more pregame from Assembly Hall as we get ready for semifinal game #1 on America's original March Madness. Continuing to set the stage for this semifinal boys Class A basketball game, let's send it over to center court to Greg Sturrock and Dick Lutke.
Thank you very much, Joe Passion. It's the Augusta Southeastern Suns and the U-High Pioneers. The last time there was a Class A undefeated champion here in Champaign was 6 years ago. Tutopolis turned the trick. It's a cloudy day here in Champaign today, but the Suns of Southeastern are shining brightly. And shining the brightest of all yesterday, Greg, was Jason Marlowe.
Well, Marlowe had just an outstanding basketball game here. He had 25 points in the ball game. He's their leading scorer, averages better than 18 points per game on the year. Yesterday, he was 10 of 12 from the floor, and it's a real key in the ball game how well Jason Marlowe plays. There he is. He's a slasher, a driver, a penetrator, and a good finisher also, Dick. And he's Normal's got their hands full with Jason Marlowe.
Well, Mike Frey is the coach of the Suns of Southeastern. They have relied on the inside game. They rely on dribble penetration, and so the question to Coach Frey is, can he he do that against that U-high 1-2-2 zone?
Well, we're going to try to take it in at the big guys, and we may get it knocked down our throat a few times, but we're going to keep taking it in there and maybe try to establish something in there, and then maybe kick it back out and look to put the outside jumper up. But we feel like we need to get up and down the floor a little bit, get something off transition, get something off the break, and if we can do that, plus if we can keep them off the board, then we feel like we have a chance.
Cale Hubbard says that his U-high Pioneers have not gotten the statewide recognition they've deserved this year. Well, they're certainly getting that here in Champaign. The word is balance for the Pioneers. They can score inside, they can score on the perimeter, and they have a lot of people, Greg, who can do both.
Well, they feature a very balanced attack, but one guy they really look to is Neil Hubbard. He's their floor leader on the outside. Got off to a slow start yesterday, had a good second half. He's their leading scorer, but they also have the luxury of going to their bench. They've got Bobby Fitzgerald. He's a good sixth man. He can shoot the basketball from the outside. And you can look at Fitzgerald. He's a good standstill shooter. He can square up. Had 3 threes in the first half yesterday.
Bobby Fitzgerald, a good sixth man, but the Pioneers are not a particularly deep team. They play 7 for the most part while crunch time is on. So does Cale Hubbard believe that he might have to use more people off the bench here today?
Well, it could be a factor. We've gone 9 deep at times this year, but we're going to just try to win this basketball game, and we'll rotate however it takes for our kids to stay as fresh as we can.
Well, the keys to the game are brought to you by Milk. It does a body good. Enjoy real dairy products. Look for the real seal in your grocer's dairy case.
Well, when you look at the game plan for Southeastern, they got to handle the zone defense. They need to get to that free throw line. They also must hit the outside shot against that tough zone defense at Normal U-High. U-High, they've got to take away the penetration primarily of Jason Marlowe. They also have to keep the Suns off the free throw line. That's a big part of the Suns offense, Dick.
And so we're set. It's the Final Four here for the Class A prize in Champaign. Our first game, the Sons of Southeastern and the Pioneers of U-High. One of your network sponsors is the Toyota Dealers of Illinois. The Sons of Southeastern perfect so far this year. The U-High Pioneers have been almost perfect recently. They lost their first 2 games this year, so they've won 27 of their last 28, and they're on an 18-game winning streak. A couple of winning streaks on the line here in the opening game. Second game to follow as Findlay goes against Benton, and then the third place in championship games this evening, and you will be viewing them all today on the IHSA television network. A great day for high school basketball fans in Illinois, Greg.
Well, this is a great matchup here between Normal U-High and Augusta Southeastern. Augusta Southeastern the first time at the Assembly Hall. Normal U-High at 28-3, and Augusta Southeastern at 32-0. And this ball game's a toss-up. It ought to be a good one, Dick.
Nice crowd has assembled here at the hall to watch the action today, and of course they'll all be back this evening. You see the color guard coming out onto the center of the court, and then we'll hear our national anthem, and then we'll meet the starting lineups for these teams, the Sons of Southeastern and the Pioneers of University High School. what's going through the minds of those young men as they listen to the national anthem being sung and they contemplate the most important basketball game of their lives to this point, the Sons of Southeastern and the Pioneers of U-High. It's time to meet the starters in today's ball game, and let's now join University High School grad Steve Adams as he announces the starters.
Introducing the starting lineups for today's first semifinal game, featuring the Sons of Southeastern High School of Augusta, entering this game with a record of 32-0, and the Pioneers of University High School of Normal, entering this game with a record of 28-3. At forward for Southeastern, a 6'2" senior, number 32, Jason Ippenson. At forward for U-High, a 6'5" senior, number 33, Neil Hubbard. At the other forward for the Suns, a 6' senior, number 40, Randy Long. And at the other forward for the Pioneers, a 6'5" senior, number 35, John Handy. At center for Augusta Southeastern, a 6'2" senior, number 50, Brian Hamilton. And at center for U-High, a 6'8" junior, number 53, Pete Vaughn. One of the guards for Southeastern, a 6'2" senior, number 30, Jason Marlowe. And at guard for Normal U-High, a 6'3" senior, number 21, Dan Katarba. At the other guard for Southeastern, a 6' senior, number 24, Brad Gooding. And at the other guard for U-High, a 6'1" senior, number 13, Brady Knight. And now let's meet the coaches. First for Southeastern, assistant coaches Todd Fox, Dave Swicegood, and Keith Bangert. And the head coach in his 10th season is Mike Frey. And for U-High, assistant coaches Selby Hubbard, Lester Hampton, Glenn Leary, and Dave Miser. And the head coach in his 3rd season is Cal Hubbard.
9 of the 10 starters are seniors. It's the semifinals of the Class A tournament. Normal U-High against Augusta Southeastern. One of your network sponsors is DuPont Herbicides.
It's been said pursuit is strong. But what about foxtail and bigger pigweed? It's been said pursuit stands alone. But what about lamb's quarters and volunteer corn? It's been said pursuit is leader of the pack. But what is it really? The DuPont Total Post Program. Flexible control that beats pursuit on these tough weeds and grasses, even in no-till. Now at a competitive new price.
Both of these teams won by what turned out to be fairly comfortable margins yesterday, although the games were close early. As the ball is tapped in the air, we look at the lineups one more time, and the Pioneers win the draw and start the basketball game with possession. Here's Brady Knight, and this is John Handy in the corner. He was our American Airlines player of the game yesterday when U-High defeated Sherrard.
Good ball movement by Normal U-High, and Southeastern opens in a zone defense, and that's not a surprise at all. They love that zone defense, and they play it very effectively.
We'll see zones from both teams as Handy tries for the first hoop of the game. Katarba gets the rebound. Here's a 3 from Hubbard. And the whistle on the rebound effort. Somebody pushing. I think it was John Handy of the gold-shirted Pioneers. And so the Suns now have the opportunity to draw first blood.
U-High plays all zone defense. They fall back into a 1-2-2 zone, and they like to play and extend that defense, Dick, just a little bit. 3/4 court, that's a 1-2-2 trapping zone press.
Marlowe gets it to Gooding. And here's Jason Marlowe to Ippenson, whose air ball is rebounded by U-High's Neil Hubbard. So both teams missing their first opportunities. Up top is Brady Knight, fine defensive player for U-High. Here's the baseline drive by Hubbard, and he can't get it, and back we go the other way. Randy Long on the move, but the defense is back for the Pioneers. And Long gets it to Ippenson, and his shot blocked, but the foul is called. And we'll get free throws here.
Suns like to run the basketball. They like to push the ball up the floor very quickly, and Long a good look that time to Ippenson inside. And early in the game, the Suns are challenging the Pioneers inside. They're taking it right at him that time. Ippenson took it inside. Vaughn picked up the personal foul, and Ippenson at the line to shoot free throws, knocks down the first free throw. And on the year, coming into the tournament, 62% on the line. A good look at head coach Mike Frey of the Suns.
Southeastern gets to the free throw line an average of 28 times a game. That's a rather incredible statistic, as Ippenson makes it a 2-0 lead for the Suns. They got there 21 times in their quarterfinal round game yesterday against Fairfield.
We talked about that being a very important key in the ball game.
Ball tip, but Katarba gets it for the Pioneers. And this is John Handy for a 15-footer, but it just won't roll in for the Pioneers.
Hamilton, a big, strong rebound there. Big rebound.
Suns a good team on the boards. Both of these teams have fared very well on the glass through the years. Brady Knight made the defensive play, and then the pass, which took Neil Hubbard out of bounds. So it's still 2-0 Suns, almost 2 minutes into this game. And there's that three-quarter court trap again by U-High.
U-High started slowly yesterday too, Dick, didn't they? They started slowly in the ball game and then finished very strong.
Scored only 7 in the first period in the win over Sherrard on Friday afternoon. Here's a three. They don't shoot many of those. The Suns do not. Gooding missed it. Pioneers back the other way. They're still down just a couple. Brady Knight works his way out of the trap, and the Pioneers in the front court.
Southeastern's a quick basketball team. They're very, very quick. They got the advantage quickness-wise.
Boy, they're causing the Pioneers some problems. Every pass an adventure right now for U-High as Brady Knight gets it to Hubbard. He thought about a three. Here's John Handy.
We'll see the shots are open from the outside. He's got to continue to hit it. Right there was Hubbard. Hubbard knocked down the three-pointer. Hubbard warming to the task. U-High now with a lead at 3-2. And don't be surprised if we don't see Fitzgerald off that bench for U-High pretty quickly. He's the three-point specialist.
There's the steal by Hubbard, who put the Pioneers ahead, and now he looks for more. Little hesitation, and then he forces the foul. Neil Hubbard making the play.
Yeah, once you knock down those jumpers, your confidence starts to build. When you start getting things done on the offensive end, good things happen defensively. Hubbard with a nice drive, a 1-on-3 opportunity. And if you're going to try and score off that, you better take it strong to the hole. I thought he was going to pull up and look to shoot the jumper, put it on the floor. Nice, strong move by Hubbard on the play.
Coach Mike Frey has just inserted Lance Robertson into his lineup, but the Pioneers now put it in play. They're up 3-2. Here's Neil Hubbard. Pete Vaughn steps away from the basket.
Oh, nice skip pass over the top.
Handy at the baseline. Neil Hubbard with a shot fake and a good pass inside. Katarba has to get it back out, however, as Handy missed it, and the rebound for the Pioneers. Vaughn couldn't get it up there. Here's Hubbard. Great block by Marlowe, but then the Pioneers get it back. Nobody can hang out of that thing. 3-2 U-High. This is Dan Katarba. And now Brady Knight. Great pass, Handy for three, but it's very short. And the rebound Ippenson, and here's Marlowe, but two defenders back for the Pioneers. Marlowe spins past one and beats the other and scores the second basket, or the first field goal of the game, actually, for Southeastern.
Now, Southeastern out very quickly. A nice play that time by Marlowe. He's such a penetrator. He's a nice driver. That time, a nice little leaner, nice little kiss off the glass. That was a nice two-pointer by Marlowe. 4-3
for the unbeaten Suns. Brady Knight to Dan Katarba.
So U-High is going to have to warm up a little bit from the outside. They're 1 of 8 from the floor.
Hubbard rather hits the second three for U-High, and it's a 6-4 Pioneer lead.
We talked about the importance of Hubbard, a quick start, and Hubbard now is lighting it up from the outside. He's hit both field goals for U-High.
Ippenson runs over Katarba, make that a charge against Jason Ippenson, and the Pioneers, who started slowly offensively, now have a couple of threes from Neil Hubbard, and they've been doing it on the defensive end, which is where they have done it all year long. They have the 6-4 lead here as we get our first timeout with 3:52 to go in period number 1. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. Well, this shapes up to be a pretty even ball game. There we look at the team comparison, Greg.
And U-High really has got the edge there. U-High in 3-point field goals, free throws, rebounds, and they've also got the size, but the quickness goes to Southeastern.
And it's a pretty slim edge if the Pioneers have one. As Brady Knight has it, there are the field goal figures to this point. A lot more opportunities, as you see there, for the Pioneers.
Well, they're 2 of 9 from the floor, and both of their field goals have been from 3-point range. They've been by Neil Hubbard, and Hubbard one of the top scorers in U-High history.
He is now number 2 on their all-time list. With his first basket in this game, he passed his uncle and his assistant coach, Selby Hubbard. He is behind a guy you know, Greg.
By the name of Jimmy Cruz, the head coach at Evansville. He's the leading scorer at U-High, scored 1,427 points in his career.
Jim Cruz played at Indiana, and before that for the University High School Pioneers, as the three here is not good by Brad Gooding, but another chance for the Suns. Good move to the bucket by Marlowe, and it's tied now 6-6.
Oh, nice rebound, nice penetration. Marlowe gets it up on the glass. Marlowe's so active on both the offense and the defensive ends.
Brady Knight for the U-High Pioneers. Here's John Handy to Dan Katarba. Cruz played for the 1971 U-High team as Hubbard shoots for another 3, and he's got 3 of them in this game. All of the Pioneer points have come from number 33, and it's a 9-6 U-High lead.
Yeah, he's 3 of 4 from 3-point range.
I was about to say the Pioneers in the super sectional game in 71, that was the year before they went to the class system, and U-High just missed making it here to Champaign as they were beaten by Danville on a last-second shot. 6 times in a row before this year, the Pioneers lost super sectional games.
When you talk about that team of 70-71, they had a record of 27-3, and now this record of 28-3 by the Pioneers is the best in school history.
And they're looking for number 29 here as the Suns took the ball away from U-High that time. Here's a long one by Gooding, and they can't get the 3-point shot, and it'll be Vaughn over the back on the foul. That's his second, and that's a key. The Pioneers, as we've said, Greg, a very balanced team, but Pete Vaughn is the key man inside for them.
Well, he's the big guy on the inside. He stands 6'8", and he's picked up his second personal foul in the ball game, and he's the guy they look to crash the boards, but he also gives them a lift with some offense. Had 12 points in the ball game yesterday, and also had 6 rebounds.
10 of those 12 in the second half when the Pioneers really took charge. Inside shot here is good for Randy Long, and it's 9-8 now. U-High's lead down to 1 point.
Nice set play too, able to spring Long up over that pick, and then he squared up nicely and knocked down the short jumper.
2 minutes to go in period number 1. U-High with the ball and a 1-point lead.
Well, U-High is getting everything from the perimeter. You know, right now, not much ball movement. Give some credit to the defense of the Suns. 3-pointers, 3 of 4. That's the key. And right there's the guy that's knocked him down, Hubbard.
Tries for a 2-pointer here and drew the foul in the process. And we'll get a chance to get more points from the line as we check out our game notes, and we see that Southeastern looking for an undefeated season, and the last team to do that, as we mentioned earlier, Teutopolis 6 years ago. They lost to Pittsfield last year in the super sectional. Of course, Pittsfield went on to win here. Those two communities located fairly close to one another.
And then with U-High, Final Four appearance in 14 and 19-18, and they've really been on a roll. They've won 27 of their last 28 ball games.
As Hubbard misses the free throw. How can he do that when he makes them all from the 3-point line?
And he is he's a good free throw shooter coming into the tournament at about 77%.
His dad looking on there as Neal makes the second one. All 10 of U-High's points are Hubbard's, and it's a 2-point advantage. Here's the drive by Marlowe, and with the drive, he created the foul. Boy, he does that so well. It's Bob Fitzgerald into the game, and he picks up his first, and that's the Pioneers' 4th.
And they look to Fitzgerald to provide that outside stroke. He's a good shooter from the outside. Came in the ball game yesterday in the first half and knocked down 3 quick threes.
Suns put it in play here. Jason Marlowe looks it over.
U-High sitting back in that zone defense. They live and die by that zone defense.
Randy Long having trouble hanging out of the ball, and Katarba makes the defensive play, forces the held ball call. It is Southeastern's turn. But Cal Hubbard appreciates that defensive effort. 10-8 U-High. As Brad Gooding, the senior, puts it down low, and there's another foul against the Pioneers. Brady Knight cracked Brian Hamilton hard, and Hamilton will go to the line, where he has been a 57% free thrower this year.
I think if we listen, you can almost hear that slap. There, that was the foul on that particular play. Hamilton went up strong, and he was just hacked across the arm and the wrist, and now Hamilton's going to have to earn it when he goes to that free throw line, Dick.
5 fouls already on U-High. That's the first on Knight, as the free throw here rolls good for Brian Hamilton. You saw the green towel there being held by Coach Mike Frey of Southeastern. He holds up different colored towels to indicate to his team what defense he wants them to play, as Hamilton ties the score.
And they must play a lot of defenses, because it looks like he just robbed somebody's linen closet. He's got about 8 of them laying over there on the floor.
Every color in the rainbow represented. Here's Neil Hubbard, who has all 10 of his team's points here in the first period.
And most of their defenses are all zones. So he's got a lot of different looks.
A little variation to the zone each time. Fitzgerald with it now. Into the corner to Knight.
See, they've really extended the defense out a little bit. Another nice skip pass over the top to Hubbard.
They're not wanting to give up those 3 opportunities. Here's a 2-pointer by Brady Knight. U-High leads by 2 once again. We're now down to 45 seconds to go here in the first period.
Good ball movement set that up. 2 skip passes over the top. Excellent ball movement out of U-High on that possession.
Randy Long to Jason Marlowe, who weaves his way through traffic, gets the shot off. It's high off the glass, not good. I don't know how he got that shot away. He was in unbelievable traffic. The Pioneers coming back with plenty of time for the final shot of the period, and I believe they'll hold it now for 1. You see the time left in this first period. U-High up 2 with the ball.
Well, when you extend that defense out, like the Suns are doing now, where you're vulnerable is right down on that baseline area. That's where the shot can come from.
Neil Hubbard will start things here with 10 seconds to play.
Yeah, see, they're matching up right now. They've got out of their zone. Now they're matching up for the final.
Brady Knight had it picked, but Jason Marlowe has whistled for the call. Oh, the quick hands of Jason Marlowe were not quite quick enough. Had the whistle not blown, he would have been headed the other way for an easy layup. It'll be put in play by the Pioneers. 2.8 seconds to go now.
Boy, he's so quick with his hands. Quick with his hands and his feet. And a good look at it right there. Gosh, he may have got that one clean.
It looked pretty good. Here's John Handy. He fires a 28-footer, and it rolls no good, and that's the end of the first period. Handy gave it a shot, but it wouldn't fall for him, and the Pioneers settled for a 2-point lead after the first 8 minutes of play. One of your network sponsors is the Toyota Dealers of Illinois. Second quarter just underway. U-High has the first possession. They lead by 2.
And Neil Hubbard had a nice first quarter. Scored 10 of the 12 points.
As Bob Fitzgerald tries for the 3, hit the side of the board. And the rebound for the Suns. Jason Ippetson to his buddy Jason Marlowe. This is Hamilton. Great pass inside, and Ippetson ties the score.
A tough shot. The defense was there. Good look to the inside. They got inside, found a little seam in the D, and then he got it up off the glass.
Good use of the glass by Ippetson. Here's Knight trying to do the same, and he does so successfully, and it's a 2-point Pioneer lead. Brady Knight with 4 points. John Souter has checked into the ballgame now for the Suns. This, however, is Randy Long. He was in trouble and traveled. Another forced turnover by that U-High defense, as now James Abel, a 6'1 junior, is in for the U-High Pioneers.
Handy and Hubbard are going to get a rest.
Here's Brady Knight. Bob Fitzgerald to Knight, who runs the show now from the top. Fitzgerald open. He missed the 3. He made 3 of them early in their win over Sherrard. Helped them stay on top in that first half. They led by only 1 at the half before opening up the game in the second stanza. John Souter, the new man in the game, number 22, had the ball. Put it back up to Marlowe. Here's Souter with it now. Ippetson from 18. He's hot right now. 2 field goals in a row for him, and we're tied again. The Suns 14, the Pioneers 14.
Yeah, Ippetson now with 6 points, 2 of 3 from the floor, and 2 of 2 from the line.
Fitzgerald for 3. Yeah, he'd missed a couple, but when you're a shooter and you get another opportunity, you keep firing. And the 3rd time the charm for Fitzgerald. That's the 4th 3 of the game for the Pioneers, and it's a 3-point U-High lead as we get the whistle here at the timeline.
U-High really doesn't look to always shoot those 3s, do they? Throughout the season, they haven't really relied that much on the 3, but here in this first half, you know, Hubbard started quick with the 3, and Fitzgerald was really the shooter that's known to knock down 3s. Hubbard on the year at only 36% from the floor from the 3s, but when you look at what Fitzgerald's done, this guy shoots 49% from the floor, and for U-High, out of the 16 field goal attempts, 9 have come from 3-point range.
The new man in the game there for the Suns is Corey Winters, a freshman, as the shot from long range here is no good by Brad Gooding, and Katarba is tied up on the rebound. And it is the Suns' turn on the alternating possessions, as you see there.
You know, to finish that thought a little bit about U-High, Dick, they only average 11 3-pointers per ball game, so they don't really rely that much on that outside 3-point shot as Hubbard checks back into the ball game, and he's relied on that 3 early in this one.
Well, he does shoot quite a few of them. I think he has the most attempts for the year, but Fitzgerald is the better percentage shooter, as the long one here is good for Brad Gooding. That's the first 3 of the game for the Suns, and we're tied once again, 17-17.
Yeah, that's their first field goal. They're now 1 of 5 from behind the arc.
Brady Knight to Bob Fitzgerald. Here's James Abel, the junior. And Knight has it up top. Good ball game here, our first semifinal on Class A Final Four day at the Assembly Hall. Findlay and Benton will play in the next one. Here's Fitzgerald. Abel with it.
See the switch defensively, and now they're in man-to-man D.
And the Pioneers struggling against it. It's a very intense man defense. Neil Hubbard now.
See, I don't think Gooding's recognized it yet. Gooding, the point guard, or Hubbard, they've got to recognize that they're in a man-to-man.
Here's the drive by Fitzgerald, and his shot off the mark. The ball knocked out by the Suns. Pioneers retain possession. You talked about U-High's three-point shooting proficiency. They are very selective with the three as we look at this play again.
Good quick move there by Fitzgerald. He usually shoots from outside. Look at the battle inside. You don't think these two teams want to advance to that championship game? Just watch the effort out of these ball players.
Here's Fitzgerald from 3. And he's made 1 out of 4 now from long range, as the rebound is collared by Brian Hamilton. Now the Suns can take their first lead here in quite a while. Corey Winters, the freshman, almost lost it, did lose it. Here's Abel the other way. He's got Fitzgerald with him. The pass behind Bob, and they'll have to bring it back out. Now Fitzgerald goes to the goal. Here's Pete Vaughn. 17-17 the score, as Neil Hubbard has it at the top. Yeah, great pass to Abel. Neil Hubbard saw him on the weak side, and James Abel gets the bucket, and the Pioneers up 19-17. Boy, Hubbard's had a great start to this game.
Well, that's a nice no-look pass that time by Hubbard.
Lance Robertson, number 52 in there for the Suns, got it to the freshman. And now Robertson open, but he put it on the floor and then tried a difficult shot and made it.
Tough shot. Pressure shot. Gets inside. The big guy, 6'2", about 225 pounds, but he was pretty smooth inside and got the shot to fall.
He made it tougher on himself with the dribble. There's another good pass, this time by Brady Knight, and again Abel is the recipient and the benefactor, his second basket, and it's back to a 2-point lead for the Pioneers. As these teams trade baskets here in the second period, we're midway through number 2 as Abel makes the interception. James Abel now gets it to Neil Hubbard. We talked with Cal Hubbard before the game about the fact that he would need some play from his bench in this game, and he's getting it from James Abel. Here's Brady Knight in the corner, the shot fake, and the shot now by Fitzgerald, who's cold here in the early going. Brian Hamilton has the rebound.
Yeah, he's better at shooting the basketball when he's got his feet underneath him instead of shooting it on the run. He's a good standstill shooter, and he has some problems when he tries to hit him on the move.
Winters to Gooding for the Suns. They need a bucket here to tie it. Gooding fakes the 3. This is Corey Winters. Ippenson over Vaughn, but Pete with pretty good defense there, and James Abel has the rebound. Neil Hubbard inside Vaughn. Oh, they missed the alley-oop. Pete gets it back and scores, and the Pioneers up 4.
Oh, a nice look, though, by Neil Hubbard. Great court awareness. This guy's got great court instincts out there. And Vaughn, the big guy, running the floor very well. The lob was there. Vaughn didn't get it, stayed with it nicely. Persistence paid off. Vaughn finished the play. Back the other way. Another steal by U-High.
And the length of the court pass. Here's Bob Fitzgerald. Pull up left-hander. Good! Robertson fouls him, and the Pioneers are up 6 here and could make it 7 from the free throw line.
Beautiful shot that time by Bob Fitzgerald. Defense set it all up. It was triggered by their outstanding defensive play. Look at the pass, the lob by Hubbard. Watch Vaughn. Can't finish, stays with it nicely. Look at him go back up. The 6'8" guy, strength inside, gets it up. Look at the length of the pass. The pass down to Fitzgerald. Oh, he's a right-hander. No, he was a left-hander on that particular play. Nice kiss off the glass for Fitzgerald.
Uses the right hand to miss the free throw, and it's still a 6-point U-High lead. And the foul against James Abel, who has really provided a spark off the bench. We've talked about the balance for U High all season long, and it was Neil Hubbard scoring their first 10 points. But now a bunch of people have gotten into the act.
Yeah, and they now are leading by 6, and that's their biggest lead at 25-19.
Well, we're going to get a timeout here. The Pioneers lead by 6 with 2:32 to go in the first half. Wait a minute, we're gonna.
I think we're gonna bonus.
That's right. We need free throws before the timeout, so it'll be Jason Marlowe to put them up and try and cut into that 6-point lead. Marlowe is a 75% free thrower. 25 points for him yesterday, but so far today he's been held to 4, and now we've got another foul called.
I think it was either Vaughn over the back or they've gotten Vaughn with a push, and that's his 3rd personal foul, Dick.
That's critical. We talked about his importance to this team inside, defensively, and on the boards. And he'll have to sit out, presumably, the rest of the half as Brian Truckman, a 6'3" junior, who did not play until mop-up time yesterday, checks in here. He's averaging just over 2 points a game. Brian Truckman into the game. Randy Long now makes the free throw, and it's a 5-point ball game. 5 for 5 for Southeastern from the line.
I think now you can look for the Suns to really take it inside. Ippenson's checked right back into the ball game, and he's their good player on the inside. And now what you've got to be careful for, they've done a good job of eliminating second chance opportunities by Southeastern. Now you've got to really do the job keeping them off the glass on the offensive end.
Long misses that chance. Here come the Pioneers. Neil Hubbard to James Abel. This is John Handy just back in the game for U High. Hubbard up top, 21-footer. A little too long. Truckman on the rebound, but he's tied up by Marlowe. Whose turn is it now? It'll be U High's turn on the alternating possessions. And now we'll get that officials timeout. 2:14 left in the half. U High 25 and the Southeastern Suns 20. One of your network sponsors is milk. It does a body good. And the people who produce milk, the dairy farm families of Illinois and Wisconsin.
If you're wondering what all those different colored towels that Southeastern is using, well, the red towel's a 1-3-1 trap, the green a 2-1-2 trap, the white a man-to-man, the blue's a press, and the gold's a 1-2-2 full court press. And by the way, they're all available to wipe the sweat off Coach Mike Fry's face.
Neil Hubbard trying to apply a little more sweat to the face as he missed the shot, and a scramble. And it's Hubbard who gets it to Truckman. Great fight by the Pioneers. Here's Abel for 3. And that didn't look too good as the Pioneers try to save it in, but Katarba hit the end line, says official Jim Sanders, and so it's Suns basketball.
Well, good effort out of both ball clubs, and you know there was a little contact, but I like the fact that the officials didn't make any kind of a call because both ball clubs are really going after the basketball. There really wasn't any harm on that play. Nice call by the official not to make the call.
Jim Sanders and Don DeLue working this game as the shot here by Marlowe is not good, but we have a foul.
It's a charge on Marlowe, isn't it?
Yep, that's the call, all right. That's his second.
That should be a shooting foul, too. I think they're going to have to shoot that one.
No, it's player control, so U High will inbound it. And it's only the 6th team foul on Southeastern. Here's Katarba. Back in the game now for U High. He checked in during the timeout. Neil Hubbard meets the half-court trap, and his pass tipped out of bounds. Both of these teams very aggressive defensively.
Both teams doing a good job of changing up their defenses. Cal Hubbard, head coach at U High, some instructions for his players. Mike Frey, the head coach of the Suns.
Hubbard will use the 1-2-2, but he does change, and that sometimes it'll be full court, sometimes a half-court trap, and sometimes he'll just drop back into that 1-2-2 in the half-court situation. Pioneers look to get it in play, and it took too long for Dan Katarba. The defense does the job again for the Suns, who continue to trail here by 5, but their defense has kept them right in the game.
Their defense, they really turned it up a notch on that particular possession. And talking about Hubbard of U High, he scored the first 10 points for U High, but he's been shut out since.
See the turnovers there, twice as many for Southeastern. Ippenson, the skip pass, wide open Gooding for 3, and there it is. His second 3-point goal, and it's a 2-point game now. Here's Brian Truckman to James Abel. He almost lost it in the corner. Skips it up top to Hubbard. Baseline Handy. And the Suns continue to be very active defensively.
And they can apply a little more pressure out top because Vaughn's not in the ball game at 6'8".
Pass to Katarba. Oh, he missed the opportunity. Another good look by Neil Hubbard. And now players diving for the ball. Handy comes up with it and takes advantage with the 16-footer to give U-High a 4-point lead.
Yeah, Handy stayed with that one nicely and knocked down the jumper. His first field goal, 2 points in the ball game for Handy.
Gooding works his way across the timeline and runs into a trap. This is Marlowe, who's been held down pretty well by the Pioneers. His pass tipped. Handy made that play, and Hubbard gets the loose ball. And now John Handy with it. Abel has played well off the bench for the Pioneers.
Yeah, you know they're going to look for that last second shot here. They've got that lead at 27-23, and they want to get that shot with about 3 or 4 seconds left. The clock down to 7.
As Neil Hubbard starts from the top. He'll create it himself here as he runs it up there and shoots it good off the glass at the buzzer. Neil Hubbard raises his fist and throws it in the air as his team heads for the locker room up by 6. 29-23. Cal Hubbard's U-High Pioneers lead the way. You see his brother Selby there with his hand on Cal's shoulder. A great start for U-High.
Well, U-High got off to such a great start with the outside shooting of Hubbard. He knocked down a 3-pointer to start the ball game for U-High. He closes out the first half with a nice dribble drive with the clock ticking down and gets it up on the glass. And Hubbard, a good first half for U-High. He gets 12 points, and he was 4 of 9 from the floor, Dick. But it was a good first half of basketball, and the Suns are right in the basketball game. They're trailing by 6 here at the halftime.
All right, let's check in with Joe Passion, who is with Southeastern coach Mike Frey.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. Give us a little bit of indication what your focus is going to be in the locker room.
We're going to talk about coming out and covering the perimeter and trying to shut that 3-point shot down. Hubbard's been draining on us, but we've got to get on the boards and we've got to start executing something on offense. We've turned it over and given it away. We're throwing lob passes and they're getting them. So we've got to just turn our game up a little bit and start thinking about what we want to do.
All right, Mike, have a great second half, and we will be coming back with more of our halftime festivities here from Assembly Hall right after this timeout from one of our network sponsors.
(29-23), University High School's Pioneers leading the Sons of Southeastern High School by 6 here at the half. U-High getting the early scoring from Neil Hubbard, and both teams playing the great defense, Greg. And one of the keys for the Pioneers was their ability to keep the Suns off the line. 6 attempts, they made 5 of them, but that's a lot fewer free throw attempts than Southeastern is used to.
Yeah, I thought it was very important that the Suns didn't spend a whole lot of time at the free throw line, and I think you have to give U-High credit. And you're right also that both ball clubs, excellent defense. The Suns got to do a much better job though in the second half, getting something done out of their half-court offense. They really struggled. They didn't get much done offensively, but then when you look at the other side of the ledger and you look at what U-High was able to do, they knocked down some big shots. Primarily Hubbard, he got his ball club off to a good quick start. He knocked down some early threes in the ball game, and then he just closed the first half in brilliant fashion, hit that shot right at the buzzer, and they're enjoying a 6-point advantage. And I think, you know, you got to look at U-High's defense to trigger a lot of offense, but U-High was pretty impressive, weren't they, in the first half?
Pretty impressive defensively, although Southeastern was able to attack the bucket to the extent they did get Pete Vaughn in foul trouble. He has 3, and that's a key. If he picks up his 4th early in the second half, the Pioneers are in some trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a key, the fact that Vaughn picked up his 3rd personal foul, but U-High really didn't suffer much with Vaughn out of the ball game. They did a good job of taking care of the basketball. They had some other players step up and make some good things happen. I thought Knight was impressive. Handy hit a nice jumper down along that baseline area. And when you look at U-High's ball club, sure, Hubbard's got 12 points, but this is a very, very balanced basketball team. But then on the other side, talk about the Suns. I think it's important that Marlowe gets on track in the second half. They've got to make their adjustments, not defensively, but offensively for the second half.
And they may have to make some 3-point shots. They're not used to shooting a lot of threes. But with that U-High interior defense being as strong as it is, that may be what could push the Suns over the top here today. The first of the semifinal games is halfway complete now. U-High leading Augusta Southeastern 29-23. And we'll return after these local messages.
Welcome back to Assembly Hall. We're at halftime with Normal U-High leading here by 6. And we are very privileged to have with us a young lady that is making the entire state of Illinois and Wisconsin more aware of dairy products. Janie Bean is the first ever official dairy ambassador of Illinois, and she is a food nutrition specialist and major at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. And Janie, I'm enjoying this interview. I'm going to get something out of this because I had my 2 glasses of milk this morning, so I guess I'm ready.
Great, you're set for the day then, because that's exactly what adults are recommended per day, is 2 servings per day.
It's interesting how the American dairy farmers of Illinois and Wisconsin have become so active in helping sponsor high school sports and getting the message out and that dairy awareness to young kids. How do you do that as the ambassador?
It's my job as the ambassador to help to educate the people and be more aware of the nutritional benefits of dairy products and try to increase the consumption of dairy products through sometimes lower fat products like 2% milk or cottage cheeses and yogurts. But overall, I'm trying to educate people to let them know about the nutritional benefits of dairy products.
Now, there are obviously a lot of imitation products that are out on the line and in stores and stuff. When people come and ask you, well, what's better, the real thing, or if my stomach can't handle dairy products, should I go to imitation products?
That's a good question. With imitation dairy products, they aren't required to meet the federal standards of identity, and they're also manufactured using oils instead of milk. So right away you can tell that they're not going to taste as good, and they're not going to cook as well, and they're also not going to have quite the nutritional benefits that milk products would.
Okay, now I know you're not a doctor, but you are majoring in food nutrition, so I'll put you on the spot. We've been having a lot of fun here talking about milk doing a body good. How good does it do a body? You talked about having at least 2 glasses of milk a day, and that's a good consumption right there.
Oh, it's excellent, because in a serving of milk, you get exactly the portions you need of the riboflavin and vitamin D, as well as other nutritional benefits, such as the carbohydrates and other nutrients that you need to get through a day.
Well, I love your idea. Janie was telling me off camera that really trying to help cheeseburgers, promoting cheeseburgers, getting more cheese on cheeseburgers, real cheese, of course.
Yes. Yeah, they're using, instead of having just 1 slice of cheese, we're promoting using 2 slices of cheese, and you can make that lower fat as well by using some of the lower fat cheeses if you prefer.
So that means we can do that with cheese dogs, cheese fries, and all that, right?
Sure, or baked potato with cheese would be great too.
Okay, Janie, thank you very much for being here. Best of luck along the way as you continue to really be a great spokesman and ambassador for dairy products.
Thank you very much.
All right, Janie Bean, the first ambassador of dairy products. And we will be back with more of what basketball does a body good, because right now it's doing U-High very good here at the break. And we will be back with more highlights and stats right after this timeout from our local station.
U-High's Pioneers and the Southeastern Suns, and it's University High School up by 6 here at the intermission. The 4 schools who are left here in the Class A tournament, all in the southern half of the state, as Findlay and Benton await the second game. Greg Sterick, a great first half.
Oh, it was a great, entertaining first half. I really liked the way U-High attacked the different defenses that the Suns threw at them. Primarily, they live from outside. You know, and then yesterday, and I know you're a very good friend to Cal Hubbard, he said his ball club shot 8 3-pointers in the first half, and they kind of liked him yesterday, but they only put up 3 in the second half, and it wasn't a surprise, though, for him to come out and knock down those 3s, was it?
Well, I think they're very selective with a 3-point shot. They use it when it benefits them. They recognize the defense and use it appropriately.
Well, they were effective. Fitzgerald also is very effective from 3-point range, but I really thought that was the difference. The way U-High opened the ball game, they attacked the defense of the Suns. But again, you know, kind of a little bit of repeating myself, but I think it's important for the Suns to get something done on the offensive end. They really were out of sync and didn't have much rhythm on the offensive end.
Let's see some evidence of that entertaining play in the first half here as we look first at this Pioneer possession. Neil Hubbard gets the 3-point basket.
Well, nice look, and Hubbard squared the shoulders, knocked down the nice long-range 3-pointer.
How about the Suns? They did some good things, too, in that first half. And here's Jason Marlowe. Boy, can he create with that penetration.
Well, good things happen when the basketball's in the hands of Jason Marlowe. He's a creator, he's a penetrator, but also a good shooter from the outside.
Brian Gooding can hit that 3-point shot for the Suns.
Yeah, another nice square up jumper from the outside, another three. A nice lob pass right here goes to Pete Vaughn. But look how Vaughn stays with it inside. The big fella working hard on the inside, kiss off the glass. Nice basket that time for Pete Vaughn.
Boy, when something doesn't work, you try again, and that's what Vaughn did on that play. Now here's another great long pass, and Fitzgerald with the left hand.
Oh, look at the body control. Look how he shifts it from his right to his left hand, and a very happy U-High team and a Bobby Fitzgerald. Nice look. Watch the creator right here. Watch Hubbard. Known for his outside shooting, shows a little quickness. Puts it on the floor, leans away from the defender, and throws it in the hole. And there's a nice highlight, too. This Vienna high school band, they're having more fun than we are, Nick.
I think Hubbard learned that move from Jason Marlowe. That's what we see him doing. Let's go now to Joe Passion, who's with Cal Hubbard.
Cal, give us an idea of what you talked about at half, what you hope will happen out here on the floor in the second half.
Well, we thought that we didn't do a very good job on their penetration. We allowed too many splits in our traps, and we didn't feel like we attacked the basket offensively. We were doing too much perimeter play.
Go get him. Have a great second.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cal Hubbard. And we send it back, meanwhile, to center court, where Dick and Greg have the sticks.
29-23. We'll check those stats in just a moment, Joe, as the halftime score has Normal U-High ahead of Southeastern Suns, and we'll return after these local messages. Our halftime stats are brought to you by Milk. It does a body good. Enjoy real dairy products. Look for the real seal in your grocer's dairy case.
Quick look there at the field goals, 38% and 53% for the ball clubs. Turnover edge, Southeastern, they had 10 turnovers in the first half.
And 11 three-point attempts in the first half for U-High. Here's one to start the second half for Brian Gooding, but it's no good. Make that Brad Gooding, who missed it. And the Pioneers, still up by 6, move the ball into the front court. Hubbard with the no-look pass to Knight, who somehow got it up off the glass. But he missed 2, and Gooding comes back the other way.
If you look at those three-point field goals, 4 of 11 for U-High in the first half in three-point territory.
Here's Gooding's 3. He got that one. And that's his 3rd of this game as he quickly cuts the deficit in half. 29-26 now the count. Brady Knight with it here for U-High. Katarba to Knight. This is Hubbard down low to Pete Vaughn.
Well, Vaughn does a good job keeping the ball up high, and then he turns and just looks for a teammate.
Starters in for both teams. A rather adventurous pass there to John Handy, but it works out well for U-High as Handy, I believe, will head to the free throw line.
U-High very active on the inside. Good ball mover. They do such a good job of spreading the floor. Look at Handy work inside. Well, that was a good move inside. The shot didn't go, but he was just hammered on the play, and Handy's going to have an opportunity to go to the free throw line. And coming into the tournament, he was a 64% free throw shooter.
First attempt of this game makes it 30-26 Pioneers. That foul the first on Brian Hamilton. Good look at John Handy, a member of the Class A state champion golf team at U-High this year, as he gets both free throws. And it's a 5-point lead for the team in the gold. Pass behind Ippenson, but he handles it. U-High settles back into that zone. Here's Gooding again, and he's red hot. He puts his team within 2. Brad Gooding with 4 3-pointers in this game.
Yeah, Brad Gooding's found his stroke from the outside, and boy, that just picks your ball club up too. Now they're back to within 2.
Handy with it here for the Pioneers. And Brady Knight and the Suns playing tough defense. Now they've extended that zone out a little bit, trying to deny the passing lanes and make the Pioneers do something backdoor, as that time knocking it out of bounds was Jason Marlowe.
You know, and they're doing such a good job inside because Vaughn really hasn't been able to get much done offensively. Cal Hubbard, the head coach of U-High, Vaughn needs to be a little more active, and once the ball goes inside, then he can kick it to the open man. There's Vaughn right there.
He gets it.
See Vaughn on the inside. A good look that time. Hubbard drew the traffic, went up like he was going to shoot the basketball, and dropped it down low. And Vaughn, a nice shot on the inside, but the pass set it up.
Pete Vaughn playing with 3 fouls. Here's Gooding for another 3. A little bit short, right on line that time, but short. Now a foul on the offensive rebound effort by Brian Hamilton. And so U-High gets the ball back with a 4-point lead as you get a good look at Brian Hamilton, and now at Mike Frey, the veteran coach of the Sons of Southeastern. Jim explained yesterday this is his 3rd tour of duty as the coach of the Sons. He came back first after the coach who followed him died in a car accident. Took over the team for a season. Then they brought in a new man who left after a couple of years. They wanted Mike to do it one more time, and this will be his final year as coach of the Suns. He hopes to go out as a state champion. As the foul here is called against Randy Long, the second against Southeastern here in this half.
Not a good foul either. You know, it was a reaching foul, needed to move his feet a little bit better and play a little D with his feet instead of the reach with his hands. When you're talking about Mike Frey, this guy's a veteran in the coaching ranks. He's had 24 years as a head coach, a record of 448 and 204.
He was at Herscher for a short time, coached high school hoops down in South Shelby, Missouri, and has had 10 total seasons at Augusta Southeastern. Here's Pete Vaughn.
I see his son's a little different look. This time it's a 1-3-1 trap.
They change defenses often.
Well, they disguise them well, too.
Here's the long lob pass, takes Hubbard out of bounds.
See the changing defense set that up. You know, U-High was rattled on the half court because no one picked up the defensive change that time by the Suns. They went to a 1-3-1 trap.
4-point lead for U-High. Pioneers led by 6 at the half. Here's the hot man from three-point territory, Brad Gooding. Randy Long finds, oh, he wanted to find Gooding, but John Handy stepped in the path of that pass. And U-High looking for more in the other direction. Handy finds Hubbard, but he's fouled as he makes that pass. And that's the third on Jason Marlowe, so there is a key foul early here in the second half. 5:04 left in the third period, 33-29 U-High.
You know, they look to Marlowe to provide some spark not only offensively but also defensively. When they go to those 1-3-1 defenses, he's usually one of the guys that's in the trap.
Katarba to Hubbard. Here's Pete Vaughn. Inside Knight, and Brady missed it. Good defense, but the rebound for Katarba. Dan Katarba, the pass from Knight to Hubbard. Here's 3 for Hubbard. He missed it, and Handy had it knocked away. Great play, Marlowe. He got one man to beat, and he did it.
There wasn't any doubt either. Marlowe was going to take that one strong to the hoop, and that's what he did. Nice play that time by Marlowe. See another change right here. See how they're changing their defenses after the made field goal. Now it's a 2-1-2 defense.
The green towel went up from Mike Frey, and that was the right towel because he forced the travel. Dan Katarba walked, and the Pioneers give up the ball as that basket at the other end by Marlowe has now cut the lead to 2. 33-31. U-High's advantage has shrunk here with 4:23 to go in the third. One of your network sponsors is Radisson Suites. Southeastern back to within 2 as Mike Frey's senior starting lineup is still in there. These guys played together as 7th and 8th graders and won state championships both of those years in junior high school. So they're familiar with this sort of pressure. Here's Gooding again, and he finally missed a 3, missed it badly. John Handy able to clean up for U-High.
I think it's an important possession for U-High. On their last 5 possessions, they've had 3 missed shots and 2 turnovers.
Handy with it now. Brady Knight tries to create. Hubbard was open for 3 instead of baseline drive, and a great little scoop shot, which does help his team to regain its balance offensively. 4-point lead Pioneers.
Hubbard now with 14 points.
And a near steal there as the Suns managed to hang on to it. Here's Marlowe. Inside shot. Boy, how did he get that off? He was fouled, I think, before the shot, but let's see.
I think they got him on the drive and not the shot.
Yeah. It's Hubbard who is charged with the personal, his first.
Yeah, see how quick Marlowe is. He gets the
first team foul of the half.
We're going to inbound it here as that foul did occur before the shot. Here's Ippenson, high arching jumper, no good, and Pete Vaughn has it for U-High. The Pioneers up 4. Have drawn the foul. Brady Knight between a couple of defenders.
I think fatigue might be starting to be a little bit of a problem for the Suns.
Jason Ippenson picks up the foul.
Well, there's a nice pass, nice kick. Hubbard right there. Oh gosh, acrobatic play that time by Hubbard. Nice shot, Hubbard with 14 points.
Very versatile offensive performer as Katarba gets it out to Knight. Here's his 16-footer, and U-High leads by a half dozen now. That's 3 baskets for Brady Knight.
I think the Suns are getting a little bit tired, Dick. I think U-High is, they're much stronger, a little more physical basketball team than what the Suns are.
Brad Gooding swings it over to the left side and now gets it back. Up top is Marlowe. Left wing Ippenson. Vaughn cuts him off. U-High continues to play that tough zone, but Marlowe cracks it and does not get the roll. Down hard to the floor was Ippenson. The ball went out of bounds off of the Pioneers, and so the Suns get another chance.
Well, Ippenson's such a hard worker on the inside. He really works hard on the inside. There's Marlowe trying to make something happen on the offensive end. The missed shot right there may have gotten a little bump, but Ippenson hit the deck pretty hard. Fortunate for him, he wasn't fouled.
Randy Long finds Hamilton, who gets it up to the top. Ooh, tough pass inside, and Katarba called for reaching over the back against Jason Ippenson.
Well, Ippenson just works so hard on the inside, and really this entire Suns ball club, they really get the job done with a lot of hard work and a lot of effort on the floor. I mean, that's why their record's at 32-0.
First on Katarba, second on the Pioneers here in the half. This is Gooding. Marlowe thought about a three. He doesn't shoot many of those. Instead, he likes to do this. And the lead is back down to 4.
Well, once he gets inside, slips inside that zone, he's so good at picking out a little seam in that defense. And then when he slips in, boy, he can just, he finds a way to get the shot off and hit the shot.
It doesn't look like there's any room in there, Greg.
No, he just slips in. He just finds a little seam.
He's very quick, and yeah, he's good at recognizing where to go. Neil Hubbard with a shot fake, but he traveled. And so the Pioneers go back to play defense, up by just 4 now with 2:08 left here in the third period. Dick Ludke and Greg Sterick describing the action here between University's Pioneers and the Sons of Southeastern. Next up, Findlay and Benton in the second semifinal game. Jim Albrecht will be along to have the call of that one for you. A foul here against Dan Katarba.
Well, they had him bottled up. They had him right in the double team, and instead of just keeping the hands up high, Katarba reached for the ball, and yeah, there you saw Coach Cal Hubbard kind of pointing to his head and saying that wasn't a good smart foul. You know, play smart, fellas.
Second on Katarba, third on the team. Here's Gooding to Ippenson. Now he's double teamed, but able to get it out to the top, and a three by Marlowe is there. As we said, Jason Marlowe doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but he's pretty accurate when he does, and he has just made this a one-point game. Brady Knight to John Handy. He'll try and answer, and does, but it's a two-pointer. His front foot just barely on that line, and so the lead for U-High is 39-36. Ippenson for the Suns. And now Gooding to Jason Marlowe. In the corner, Ippenson, 15-footer. The rebound for Long, and they lost it. Well, too bad. Randy Long really had the weak side there blocked off.
Good box out that time by Long, and the ball came down, and he just couldn't handle it.
Let's see John Handy. Yep, his front foot, you can see it well on the line.
Good call. We'll count it for 2. It was a nice answer, though, to the 3 by Jason Marlowe. And if you want to see a 3, watch this 3. Marlowe squares up. You're going to catch the bottom of the net right there. A 3 by Jason Marlowe. A nice basket that time by Marlowe. And it's a 3-point advantage. U-High at 39. The Suns at 36. 1:10 left in third quarter action.
U-High with the ball. James Abel has checked into the game. He's number 25. He had it there. And now we have another foul against the Suns. Ippenson, I believe, and there is a good look at the senior Jason Ippenson. As you see, he's in a little bit of foul trouble. He and Marlowe both with 3. The only man for 3 with U-High is Pete Vaughn, and he got those all in the first half. He's been able to play the third quarter here without picking up that 4th. Bob Fitzgerald in for U-High. Number 45 has it now. Brady Knight back to Fitzgerald. Here's Vaughn with a difficult catch, and he does well to get it back outside. Now he has it again inside Abel and outside Fitzgerald, and now 3 seconds called. That took a little too long to develop, and the Pioneers give it up with 45 seconds to play in the period.
Well, you know, they got Abel for 3 seconds, but almost, yeah, Cal Hubbard saying the same thing I was getting ready to say. Didn't he have a hold of his arm when he was trying to give up that basketball?
Into the game, the big guy Lance Robertson replacing Long. And now we see Aaron Bartlow check in for the first time, number 54, a 6'3" junior. The average is just 1.5 points per game.
You know, U-High now with 9 turnovers, Dick, in the ball game, and the turnovers there, that's just in the second half. That's 5 turnovers by U-High in the second half. They had 4 in the first half.
Suns have turned it over 11 times, and there's the 12th turnover. Brady Knight made it happen as Fitzgerald gets the layup, and U-High leads it by 5.
Nice steal by Knight. Defense triggers some instant offense. Back the other way, Fitzgerald, he was the finisher.
Now that tough half-court trap by the Pioneers. Robertson gets it across. His pass is tipped. He does get it back. We're down to 15 seconds to play here in the period as the Pioneers make the steal. Vaughn to Fitzgerald. You see the time left there here in the period. Brady Knight, Fitzgerald, a 19-footer, and it won't go. No. As the rebound with 2 seconds to go by Bartlow, and the period will come to a close. The Suns, I think, happy to get out of the quarter, down by just 5, as they were really struggling there against a turned-up U-High defense. 8 minutes to play here in our first semifinal game, and the Pioneers are up 5. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. Our game summary is brought to you by your Toyota dealers of Illinois. I love what you do for me, Toyota. 13 turnovers for Southeastern, and a couple of them right there in the final seconds of the third period. Brad Goodings had a big game from three-point range, but the Pioneers have the 5-point lead and the ball here as we start the fourth quarter. Neil Hubbard to Brady Knight. And this is Bob Fitzgerald. The defense turned up now for the Suns as they have entered their starting lineup back into the contest. They finished the third period with a lot of subs on the floor. James Abel, he winds up in the lap of one of the U-High managers there. Didn't get to the ball in time, and it'll be Suns possession.
And Hubbard had that shot along that baseline, and he's such an unselfish player. They're such a balanced basketball team, very unselfish. Looked like, though, Dick, he had the shot and tried to make that little drop pass down low.
Here's the pass into Long, and he gets the basket in the lane. Randy Long with his second hoop of the game. It's down to a 3-point difference now.
Along with 5 points in the ball game, the Suns just keep hanging around. Here comes that press. See how they've extended the press right here.
And a steal. This is Gooding. Brad Gooding takes it to Bob Fitzgerald, but double dribble. Well, he forced that a little bit, Greg, because the defense for U-High reacted to the change of possession very well.
It was a nice steal, and he took it a little bit deep, a little out of control on the play, and he's a little upset with himself. And see how he was out of control? Didn't really have much going right there. A little out of control, and that was the time to kind of back it out. That was a big possession, but still, the Suns just keep hanging around, and they're doing it with their change-up defenses.
There's that half-court trap, and the Pioneers advance it across the timeline, but Abel in a jam now finds Dan Katarba. Here's Fitzgerald. U-High by 3. 7 minutes to go in the first semifinal game, and a whistle there as Hubbard almost lost it, but somebody got him on the arm.
I think Marlowe is going to get the personal foul, Dick, and they were so active that time out of that 2-1-2 defense. And for Jason Marlowe, their leading scorer on the year, he's now picked up his 4th personal foul. And Marlowe is 5 of 7 from the floor and has had 11 points. So they need him for the stretch run here in the fourth quarter.
Neil Hubbard, now the 2nd all-time leading scorer for his dad's school. There's a look at Cal. Makes the free throw and increases the lead to 4. And now we're going to get a timeout. It's been called by Mike Frey of the Southeastern Suns. His team, with 6:49 to play, trails by 4, 42-38. One of your network sponsors is the Toyota dealers of Illinois. Well, there's a look at the U-High cheering section, the student portion of it. Boy, they've been excited about this team for a long time as Hubbard shoots the second free throw good, and U-High's lead has ballooned to 5 points. Neal now has 16. Here's the move by Marlowe, and boy, he creates so much with that dribble penetration. He gets himself to the free throw line here.
U-High was pretty effective, especially in the first half, taking away that penetration of Marlowe. But he's kind of come alive here in the second half and been able to make some things happen, some good things happen for his ball club with his penetration. We talked about the three-point shooting in the first half of U-High. Another look at Cal Hubbard, head coach of U-High. In the first half, they were 4 of 11. This half, Dick, they've only put up 1 3-point field goal.
As the free throw here for Marlowe closes the lead to 4. Jason Marlowe with a dozen points. He had 25 yesterday against Fairfield. Now it's a 3-point game. That foul on Fitzgerald, his second, only 4 in this half against U-High despite their intense defense. Here's Fitzgerald at the timeline. Hubbard bobbled it momentarily. Brady Knight to John Handy, and the 16-footer is short. Great rebound by Jason Ippenson. Here's his outlet to Marlowe. He gets by one man, another one to beat. Great pass to beat him, and Long gets the basket and the foul. Oh, what a nice dish by Marlowe.
Marlowe set it all up once again. Well executed 2-on-1 break. Marlowe was right there, delivered the basketball at the perfect time. Watch Marlowe. Looks one way. There's the kick, the bounce. Long comes right there. Good body control. Long up on the glass. And Marlowe to give him the assist, but a good finish that time by Randy Long.
That's beautiful, and Long tries to tie the game and does. It's all even, 43 apiece. First tie since the very early part of the game. Dan Katarba to Neil Hubbard. Here's John Handy. We had a couple of ties early on. Now for the third time we're knotted up here. 6 minutes to play as Hubbard has it for the Pioneers. Scoops it inside. Brady Knight with a good dish, and Fitzgerald can't make it. But the rebound for Katarba, he put it up and missed it. And now the ball rebounded by who? Handy tried to save it in, couldn't do it. Suns get it. And the Pioneers want to talk about the way this game is going right now. They were up by 5, but 5 points in a row for Mike Frey and the Southeastern Suns. And it's a brand new ball game with just under 6 minutes left. Let's go to our man, Joe Passion. What do you have for us, partner?
You know, we talked about fashion. Well, you've always got a certain statement that basketball teams try to play. Some of the normal U-High players were telling me that the reason why they wear the big, large, more popular shorts, they voted on that a couple of years ago, but they went to the black shoes this year for the first time. They did it partially because black high tops have become very popular again, and also because it makes them look slower to their opponents. Apparently that's helped. Although I don't know if the Southeastern Suns would necessarily agree with how slow the Pioneers are. Back down to center court to guys who are always quick on their feet, no matter what color shoes they wear, Greg and Dick.
Hey, let's see if we can hear what Suns coach Mike Frey is telling his team at this point.
Green this next time. Go green next time. Come on, defense.
Well, we caught just a few words there as he has his team going in the right direction right now, Greg.
Yeah, they're on a roll. They've got the ball game tied up at 43 all, trailed by as many as 6 at the half.
That was the biggest difference in this game. U-High led at 29-23 at the intermission. Here's Marlowe in the corner to Gooding. He's in a jam and was fouled. Again, U-High had the offensive player double teamed, but the reach-in causes the whistle. And it's by Vaughn, and that's 4 on him.
That's a fourth personal foul on Pete Vaughn. And see the activity how the Suns on the offensive end right there, and Vaughn's up all over him right there. And see when Vaughn just reaches in with his arm. That's a good call by the official.
Suns to put it in play. That's the 6th-team foul against U-High. Free throws on the next one.
Yeah, this quarter, U-High is 0 of 3 from the floor, 2 turnovers, and the Suns, they've hit on 2 of 2 from the floor.
Almost a loose ball and a steal, but getting it back is Gooding, and his pass is tipped. Boy, the Pioneers playing great defense. Knight almost knocked it free. Marlowe with an impossible shot, but the rebound, Ippenson, he had it blocked. It was Handy, I think, who blocked it, and now double dribble called, or traveling actually, against Brian Gooding. What great fight by both of these teams.
Well, Gooding went up to shoot the basketball. Give Hubbard some credit. He flashed out quick, got a hand up in his face, and had him all over the shot. Look at the battle inside. Bond's playing with 4 fouls. Nice block there. See Hubbard come right there. Hubbard's the guy that created that turnover.
And at the other end, U-High gets it to Katarba, and they take the lead. What a pass by John Handy. It's Dan Katarba's first basket, which gives U-High the 45-43 advantage, just over 5 minutes to go. Well, we haven't had one yet this weekend that's come right down to the wire. We've had some entertaining ball games, but this the closest into the 4th period so far. Here's Gooding for 3, and he missed it a bit long. Brady Knight has it for the Pioneers.
Gooding's 4 of 12 from the floor, and all 12 of his shots have been 3s.
This is John Handy, and he got the long one. It is a 2-pointer. Again, it's happened to Handy twice in this game. His front foot just barely on the line.
Oh, but he stayed with it nicely. He just held the shot, Nice release, held the shot. Big basket that time by Handy.
4-point lead for the Pioneers. The pass to the baseline. This is Ippenson, but quickly double teamed, and Vaughn makes the defensive play. Pete Vaughn with the rejection.
Oh, nice play defensively inside by Vaughn. And he's playing with 4 personal fouls, and he's had 2 blocked shots on the last 2 possessions of the Suns.
Brady Knight had it poked away. A defensive play on the other end. Jason Marlowe made it. And now Marlowe looks for something offensively as his team trails by 4. 4 minutes to play. Gooding to Marlowe. Gooding again, a 3-pointer, and this one's long. Handy has it for the Pioneers. Boy, Gooding had it going early, but his shooting has cooled off a little bit here.
Now here comes the 1-3-1 trap. They're trapping and bringing that defense out much, much higher.
Ball kicked out of bounds, and U-High will put it in play as Cal Hubbard checks that scoreboard. Yes, Cal, the Pioneers still lead it by 4, 47-43. Here's Pete Vaughn. Dan Katarba. Brady Knight finds a man open in the corner. That's Hubbard. But he couldn't get the shot away. Handy has an opportunity to do so, but chooses not to. Skip pass back to Hubbard. Here's his shot. Yes, make it a 3-pointer and give the Pioneers a 7-point bulge. That's 7 points in a row for U-High.
7 unanswered points. Hubbard gets the basket. It was a nice skip pass over the top by Handy, but Vaughn set a nice and that was what enabled Hubbard to get open for the shot, and then they turn up the heat once again defensively.
That time an unforced error against Gooding, who didn't catch that ball before he decided what he wanted to do with it. And Mike Frey with a look of frustration on his face as his team was tied just moments ago, but all of a sudden that's a different story. Let's see what Mike Frey has to tell his guys at this point.
You still got a lot of time. What do you want to do defensively? Now, we can't gamble to the point where we're on the backside of them and they're attacking us 5-on-4. But we got to gamble to get the dang ball. Now, raise up and hit a 3 for us, will you? You raise up and hit a 3. You can step out there and get one. We don't have to go to all 3s yet. Hey, if we could hammer it in and get a layup and a free throw, that'd give us a 3 also. Also, we're in the bonus now. If we can get some penetration or something, I'd like to run 2-1-2, get Bud on the soft post. I'd like for you to get down here and press offense instead of back there. Okay? Just execute for 3 minutes, get us back in the game.
Well, Mike Frey very efficient in delivering the information there as we check some figures at the end of this contest.
Timeouts remain. Southeastern and U-High both with 3. Possession arrow in the favor of Southeastern.
There's Cal Hubbard, Mike Frey's opposite number. His team right now has the lead and the ball. Katarba tonight, the Pioneers looking for the good shot now. Well, Hubbard takes the 3 and he missed it, and Katarba with a big rebound. Now Brady Knight to John Handy.
U-High really dominating on the glass.
Fitzgerald, yeah, that's a 10-point lead now for the Pioneers, the biggest of the ball game. Bob Fitzgerald gets his second 3 of the game. 53-43, 2:42 to go. Here's Ippenson. Spins and delivers it outside. A 3 from Marlowe. It's not there. Long follows, but his shot is errant. And the rebound for Dan Katarba. And U-High's Pioneers in great shape, although there's still 2.5 left. They want the fast break bucket. Bob Fitzgerald smartly dribbles it out from underneath the bucket.
Now they're just taking care of the basketball. U-High on a 10-0 run. This ball game was tied at 43-all.
Here's Fitzgerald to John Handy. And Neil Hubbard with it. Boy, it surprised me they took that last 3. They did it twice, really. Hubbard missed. They got the rebound, and then Fitzgerald cashed it in and really put his team in great shape. Now the foul with 2 minutes to go.
And the clock's starting to be a real factor. The Suns went cold from that outside, and you heard Mike Frey talking to his ball club in the huddle. You know, and I liked his approach in that huddle. He was talking about the importance of knocking down a shot, and the way he was communicating with his players was just beautiful, Dick. The way he was working his players, and you know, he was saying, "Yeah, how about you step up, knock down a 3 for us?" You know, didn't call players by names, but you know, I think they knew who he was making reference to. But that was good work in the huddle.
Handy with the free throw. his 9th point, and the Pioneers lead it by 11. Boy, that's a tough situation to be in, to communicate in a tense situation with a lot of noise around you, and he did it very efficiently in a short period of time.
Well, he's a veteran coach. You know, he's been around for a while out of 24 years, and I think young coaches that get into the business, one of the toughest things is how to use timeouts effectively.
Not necessarily when to call them, but how to use them when you call them. Yeah. Ippenson with it for the Sons of Southeastern. He dribbles out and fires the 3 short. It's desperation time for Southeastern right now. And Brady Knight controls for U-High. Here's Dan Katarba, and he's fouled with 1:34 to go. U-High's Pioneers are 94 seconds away from a trip to the championship game here in Champaign. And Mike Frey wants another timeout, as you see there. Well, U-High's fans like the way this one looks now. 54-43 in favor of the Pioneers with 1:34 left to play in this basketball game. Well, the 3-point shooting contest coming up next weekend here in Champaign. And there you see the participants at the Class A level. That'll be fun next weekend, Greg.
Well, the 3-point shots really brought a lot back into the game of basketball. It's fun and it's exciting, and you get a look at the Class A participants right there that are going to be here at the Assembly Hall next weekend, and a few that have advanced through the Class AA, and there's going to be many more. They're going to also have a slam dunk contest. A few more exciting things that go along with madness here in Champaign.
We saw Kylie Gwaltney yesterday, of course, from Fairfield. And there are the AA slam dunkers. Corey Williams from Batavia was a fun one to watch here last year. Those 3, and as the graphic displays there, many more. That's a nice thing because schools who are not here to play ball games are represented in this particular competition.
Well, it's just something new. It's a little more excitement to go along with high school basketball. Not that high school basketball in the state of Illinois needs any more excitement, but I like those two features this year, going with the 3-point contest and also the slam dunk contest. And boy, those when you speak of the 3-point shot and you talk about the slam dunk, those are exciting parts of basketball, and they really get the fans involved into the ball game. And we've seen a lot of good Class A shooters from 3-point range just in this tournament.
Katarba's throw makes it a 12-point U-High lead. The Suns, with their last 10 possessions, have turned it over twice and have missed 8 times. That was after they tied the game at 43-43. Since then, 12 points in a row for U-High. Now 1:34 to go as Katarba tries to string 13 in a row for his team, and does. And U-High in great shape as the Suns need a bunch of points here in a hurry. They're thinking 3 right now. Ippenson with it. Gooding faked the 3. Here's Marlowe. U-High defending that perimeter. Marlowe goes inside and gets, well, he almost got 2. Long tries to follow. Here's the rebound shot by Marlowe, and he gets himself to the foul line.
Well, Dick, this ball game was tied back at 43 all. That was at the 5:30 mark in the ball game. It was knotted up at 43 all, and you can see now what's happened. U-High has definitely taken control, and they're up by 13 points now. Vaughn leaves the ball game, and boy, he had an awful good ball game for U-High, even though he got some foul problems. Still, his size presents problems for ball clubs because he's an intimidator inside defensively.
Picked up 3 fouls in the first half, had to sit quite a bit of the second period, but did not pick up that 4th foul until fairly well into the 4th quarter, and so he was a big factor in the second half as Marlowe makes both free throws, and the lead is 11 now for the U-High Pioneers. Marlowe with 15 this afternoon. Here's Brady Knight. And Neil Hubbard has it up top for Brady Knight, and he's fouled now by Randy Long. Well, who's our player of the game? Our American Airlines American Eagle player of the game. I think this is a good choice, Greg.
I don't think that would surprise anybody. Neil Hubbard got his ball club out to a quick start, had 10 quick points for his ball club. Right now he sets on 19 points and 3 rebounds in the ball game.
As the free throw here is missed by Brady Knight. American Airlines and American Eagle, something special in the air. Presenting us our player of the game, Neil Hubbard.
You know, he also is taking care of the basketball pretty well. He's also got 6 assists in the game, too.
Marlowe with a tough roll there. Back come the Pioneers. Here's Brady Knight, and he's fouled by Randy Long. So Knight will go back to the free throw line. The Pioneers up 11. Now we're in the final minute. 51 seconds left to go. The Pioneers thinking, I'm sure, about tonight and wondering maybe whether it'll be Findlay or Benton.
That's the next ball game coming up, and Benton's led by JoJo Johnson at 38 yesterday, and Findlay's got the Twin Towers on the inside, and Stivers and Smith, so that ought to be a good matchup.
I'm looking forward to it. Jim Albrecht and Greg Sterick will be here to describe the action for you, and we hope you enjoy that, plus the third place game in which the Suns, who look a bit dejected right now, will be involved, and then our championship game tonight. Brady Knight has put the Pioneers back up by 13 with his 7th and 8th points of the game. Here's Long. The Suns about to taste defeat for the first time this year as Ippenson drills the 3.
Before that basket, the Suns were 0 of 10 from the field goals since the ball game was tied at 43-all. Marlowe knocked down a couple of free throws, and Ippenson there with a 3. Oh, good look inside that time. And good look by Brady Knight.
Handy denied the layup by the great effort of Jason Marlowe, who is charged with his 5th foul.
That's what you call a no-look pass right there, Dick. Did you see the look? Look away, and then the good kick to Handy. Taking a look. Oh, no look.
Well, Marlowe knew where the pass was going, but he was too far behind the play to make the block cleanly as Marlowe now leaves the ball game with 5 fouls. There you see him. What a fine player he has been, and we'll get a chance to see him again in the third place game tonight against the loser of the next contest between Findlay and Benton.
Well, High does such a good job distributing the basketball in the ball game. They've had 15 assists. You know, teammates like each other when you throw them the ball, don't they, Dick?
Well, these guys all like one another. They're a very closely knit group, and I think part of that has been prompted by the fact that they play so unselfishly and that the scoring balance is there for the Pioneers as John Handy has the turn now to score for his team and puts down 2 free throws. Handy has 11 points today, and the Pioneers are up a dozen as Ippenson bombs another one. This time he comes up short. We're down to 20 seconds to play. Brady Knight, great pass to Fitzgerald, and he's fouled as he puts it home. Icing on the cake for the U-High Pioneers.
I think that's foul there. That foul on Gooding was just you know, out of frustration. A good look again, once again by Knight. There's Fitzgerald right there with the finish. He goes up for the block. Gooding fouled him pretty hard on the play as Gooding fouls out of the ball game. And you look at the numbers that Gooding was able to post. He was 12 points in the ball game, and he was 4 of 13 from the floor, and all of his field goal attempts came from 3-point territory.
Great game. As we see the Pioneers emptying the bench. Now there's Neil Hubbard at the bench as he leaves this contest and gets a great hand from his fans. He'll play for a state championship this evening. Jim Orsolak has checked into the ball game for U-High's Pioneers as Bob Fitzgerald waits to shoot the free throw. The others in there for U-High now: Tom Feely, James Abel, we saw him earlier. Ryan Truckman, who played briefly in the first half, is back in for the U-High Pioneers. And now we see some subs coming in for the Suns as well. Aaron Bartlow will finish the game as there is Brian Hamilton leaving for Southeastern. Also checking in there, number 42 is Nolan Wardick. Number 20, Scott Wagner for the Suns. Ippenson and Long sit down. They'll have to try to gear up now for that third place game this evening. That's not easy duty. Fitzgerald's free throw good. He completes the 3-point play. He has 13 this evening. Tom Mack has checked in for the U-High Pioneers, and Cal Hubbard has cleaned the bench as Bob Fitzgerald sits down.
And this score is not going to indicate really how close this ball game was. It was tied up at 43-all at that 5:30 mark here in the last quarter.
Here's Wardick with it. That's been true of a lot of our games here this weekend. They've been closer than the scores have indicated. Final seconds being counted down here as Bartlow finishes the game with a field goal for the Suns, who lose it by the final count of 63 to 50. And U-High's Pioneers win their 19th in a row. They go to 29-3, and they play in the championship contest this evening as the U-High banner makes its circuit here along the floor at the Assembly Hall. Cal Hubbard and his brother Selby there next to him will plot strategy for the championship contest. They'll have to wait a while to see who they will face. Will it be Benton or will it be Findlay? The Suns now 32-1. They lose for the first time this year, Greg. A great year for Southeastern Suns.
Well, they've had a great year. You know, it's very disappointing for these young men, but they won 32 basketball games. Now they've got to regroup. You know, they're very disappointed now that they're going to have to come back and play in the third place game. But this was just an outstanding effort by Normal U High as they were able to win the ball game by 13. But the Suns really gave them all they wanted until that 5:30 mark left in the ball game in the fourth quarter, and that's when U High really took control. The Suns maybe a little fatigued, got a little tired, but I really thought where U High was able to wear them out was on the backboards. In the second half alone, U High out-rebounded the Suns 17-7, Dick.
And going into the game, Mike Frey was concerned about rebounding. He had reason to be. Let's go to Joe Passion, who's with winning coach Cal Hubbard and Cal's son, Neil.
Well, even Neil was saying it has been a family affair all the way on their road to Champaign, and I guess it's proving out here tonight. You wanted to push him in here because he was more important than you. I don't know about that.
My players are always more important than the coaches.
What's been the most important factor that allowed your team to really pull away? We saw them really hustling back on defense.
When the score was tied, you could see in our kids' eyes that they were not going to let it get away from them. And they really buckled down, made sure that we did it on the defensive end. We were up one or tied, and we got to stop that time down with really good hustle and really intense defense. And our kids have won all year on defense, and they did it again today.
Neil, I noticed when you guys are coming down the court after a big bucket, you're slamming your hands down on the floor.
Tell us too much TV.
Tell us about that.
Well, we do that when we think we need a big stop, and we're playing with a lot of emotion. I guess, I mean, that was pretty much the reason.
What's been the biggest thrill? The fact that you're here, you guys have gotten here. Were there any point during the season when you thought, yeah, it's a reality, it's possible?
Well, he always told us that we could play with anybody, but we never really believed it until we got down here. So it's fun to be here.
What will be your in-between games routine from here, Cal?
Get them something to eat, get them off their feet, and keep them out of here as long as we can.
Okay, go get them, guys. Congratulations. We'll see you at the championship game. All right, the Hubbards will be in the championship game for the first time for Normal U High, and we'll send it back over to center court to Dick and Greg.
19 points for Neil Hubbard, Joe, as he helps the Pioneers defeat the Sons of Southeastern 63-50. Next up here, Benton and Findlay. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance.
They come from towns as small as Pinckneyville and as big as Chicago, all filled with hope, some destined for glory.
We got to get the ball back and score before they...
Yes! They win it! To all the teams and all the fans, the country's behind you.
Normal U High advances to the Class A state championship game here in 1992 with a 63-50 triumph over the previously unbeaten Sons of Southeastern. And now it's Benton and Findlay out on the floor getting ready to go at it and see which team gets a chance to beat the Pioneers this evening. A very entertaining ball game and great defense from both squads, Greg.
Well, I thought defense was really the difference. U High was able to really turn it up when they needed to on the defensive end when the ball game was knotted up at 43-all. And you heard Coach Cal Hubbard speak of it. It's the defenses that's carried him into the championship game, but their offense was there also, and his son was a real catalyst on the offensive end. He had an outstanding ball game with 19 points.
Well, let's check out the play of the game. There were a lot of good ones, a lot of three-pointers. I think it's appropriate that a three-pointer turns out to be the play of the game.
And I think it's appropriate, too, that Neil Hubbard's the guy that knocked down that three-point shot. It's a big shot. It skips over the top. Vaughn said a nice pick there inside. And Hubbard, and look at the emotion out of this ball club. That's what they play on. They play with a lot of emotion. Their defense gets it done, but it's nice, too, to be able to knock down that outside shot. And I think that was a big basket by Neil Hubbard. And, you know, Hubbard got his ball club off to such a great start early, and then when you take a look at the stats in the ball game, right there, it's 16 of 40 for Southeastern at better than 40%, almost 45% for U-High. 3-point field goals, both teams with 6. U-High 13 of 17 from the line, 10 of 12 for Southeastern. Rebounds, U-High with the edge at 30 to 24. Turnovers, Southeastern with 16 and 12 for U-High.
And we want to let you know our game stats are brought to you by Milk. It does a body good. Enjoy real dairy products and look for the real seal in your grocer's dairy case. The DuPont herbicides play of the game, that three-pointer by Neil Hubbard. That was at the point when the Pioneers were making that run from the 43-43 tie. The bucket by Neil made it 50-43, and they went on from there for the victory. The DuPont Total Post program, flexible control at a competitive new price. Well, a 63-50 win for Normal University High School. The Pioneers will be here to play for the championship tonight against either Benton or Findlay. One of your network sponsors is Milk. It does a body good. And the people who produce Milk, the dairy farm families of Illinois and Wisconsin.